Greetings! The Path of Exile Delve patch notes are finally here. So I'm gonna do a quick rundown of these. Now, I'm not gonna mention every single thing in the patch notes, but I've taken some notes on the things that I care about the most. And yeah, let's just go through them together. So the first thing I did was I searched for Queen of the Forest. Well, Queen of. The only result was Queen of the Sands, which means Queen of the Forest was not nerfed. I also did a search for Evasion, and no results there either. But that means I'm probably gonna run a Queen of the Forest character again. Like, I've been running those since Abyss League, basically. And it's still gonna be the best. Anyway. Moving on. The Delve League is new. I suggest you read the changes or the description of the league for yourself. I mean, there's plenty of videos and stuff to cover that. There's some new skills. They're called Smite, Consecrated Path, Summon Holy Relic, Herald of Purity, Herald of Agony, Scourge Arrow, Toxic Rain, and Val Ancestral Warchief. That was a bit of a surprise to me. They're adding another Val skill. And they're also adding a new level downscaling system. Like, you can play with a higher level character together with in a party with a lower level character, and the high level character will get scaled down, and the low level guy will still get decent experience. So that's pretty cool for party play. They're updating the graphics engine. They're adding a new lighting option called Global Illumination, and also updating the way the water looks. That's pretty cool. Now this is one of the biggest changes, or one of the most exciting changes. Instantly move a stash tab to the far left. So at the start of the league, you no longer have to drag your stash tabs past 80 other stash tabs slowly and painfully. You can just, I believe it's shift click. Let's search it. No, it's right click. You right click a stash tab and it gets moved to the far left of your tab list. That's great. And also the other thing that's really exciting to me, and this just kept piling on, they announced the minimap icons and the beams and custom alert sounds for item filters. Now this means you can have any sound file basically as your alert sound for your filter. And the way this works is you just put the file in your in the same folder as your filter, or anywhere on your computer if you use an absolute path. That's covered in this forum thread right here. Like, you just put custom alert sound in your filter along with the path, or if it's in the same folder, just the file name. Really easy. There's also the beams, which I'm not really excited about. It's like Diablo 3 style beams that appear from the items. I don't think this is necessary, but it's nice to have the option, I guess. The minimap icons are a lot more interesting though. This means you can actually see off-screen drops on your minimap. And these are the various icons you can display. It's basically 6 different shapes, 3 different sizes, in 6 different colors. So that'll be really useful. I'll get to work on my filter later, maybe tomorrow. Implement some of these new options. Instant skills. Now, a lot of people got really excited about this, but for now it's really not that interesting, to be honest. It means you can cast auras, Molten Shell, Righteous Fire, Blood Rage, Phase Run Heralds, Convocation aspects, and Arctic Armor while running. So I guess for Blood Rage this is interesting and kind of a nice quality of life change, but for the most part this won't change much. Unless they add some new instant skills later on. Anyway, it's a nice quality of life thing. They nerfed traps in 2 different ways. Actually, a few different ways. They increased the time it takes to throw a trap. Base trap throwing time has been raised from 0.5 to 0.6 seconds. They also nerfed a couple of support jumps for traps. But some of the trap skills, like lightning trap and stuff, got some numerical buffs. So I'm guessing this is mainly to combat the arc trap being too good. But it's also going to hurt a few other traps. So I'm not sure if this is the best way to deal with it. We'll see. So the true melee skills get some extra range, +2 melee range. These are the skills. I'm not seeing Infernal Blow here. But I guess maybe that doesn't count anymore as a true melee skill. It was changed in the last major patch, but I haven't really tried it out since then. Vol Soul Prevention time is now modified by skill duration and buff duration. Now this is pretty major, I think. This might mean that if you try to cheese this with like temp chainsing yourself, you're gonna have a really long Vol Soul Prevention time, which means you're no longer gonna be able to do permanent uptime for some of these cool builds. But I'm not entirely sure how it's gonna work. The wording is kind of vague. Prevention time is now modified by modifiers to skill duration and buff duration if those modifiers in some way affect the associated skill. I mean, I guess it's not that vague. So, I mean, if you're let's say Vol Earthquake duration is affected in any way, it's probably also going to affect the prevention time, which means it's going to be harder to maintain the uptime. Rip. Now they reworked some old skills. I was expecting a lot more skills to get reworked or at least buffed, but apparently only Dominating Blow, Static Strike, and Caustic Arrow got reworks. But I think Caustic Arrow is going to be the big one. So I'm probably going to try playing that on release. I'm not going to go into detail. You can read these for yourself. This is just going to be a quick video anyway. They changed Flame Dash and Lightning Warp. They got slight buffs. Flame Dash probably got the bigger buff because they increased the range on it by 20%. That's pretty cool. I'm excited to try that. At the same time, they nerfed Shield Charge. So the movement speed portion is no longer affected by weapon attack speed. This is to combat the Bright Peak meta. So I don't know how awkward Shield Charge is going to feel after this change. I didn't even like Shield Charge before this change because I just don't like the feel of the skill. I prefer having good movement speed with Queen of the Forest. We'll see. Kinetic Blast got a huge nerf to the single target damage against walls. You won't have overlapping explosions anymore. And some explosions just won't appear if there's no room to place them evenly, so that's a big nerf. Moving on to the passive tree. I know I'm skipping a lot of stuff here, but I just glanced at these and some of them I don't really care about. You should read the patch notes for yourself if you're curious about the rest. Now, the Pathfinder Poison rework. They added 2 nodes to the Pathfinder tree. And these affect poison, and also, I don't like this. They're making ascendancy nodes that affect just one skill. Herald of Agony. Now that's a new herald, but still. it seems kind of weird that they're pushing for one single ascendancy to use this Herald. I don't like this at all. I mean, I guess this kind of already existed with Necromancer and some minions. Like, Necromancers have Spectre-specific stuff and zombie-specific stuff. But yeah. I really don't like the buffing of one skill on the ascendancies. We'll see. Now they're adding they're buffing poison and bow nodes on the tree. I won't go into detail about that. Now the Templar starting area has been reworked. There's some new Guardian. There's some new minion nodes with attack speed, I guess. I think, or attack damage. I forgot. Yeah, increased attack damage and increased minions. So they're hybrid nodes with that affect both your minions and yourself. And this this goes along with the Guardian rework, I guess. Guardian is also getting a buff to a single Herald of Purity, which also summons a minion. So I guess they want the Guardian to be some kind of holy warrior that hits stuff and has minions at the same time. And Dominating Blow got reworked at the same time as well, so I guess that's also supposed to be used with Guardian. They changed some spell block and block nodes that I don't really care about, because I don't really know much about block mechanics, and I barely ever use them, so I just kind of skipped that part, but it's there. Moving on to item balance. They nerfed the LA hit jewels. That's pretty much the only significant change to item balance. Unique item balance, at least. There's also some changes to Shimmeron, Hope Shredder, Nebularch. If you care about those items, you might want to check them out. But basically, the LA hit jewels will now be 50% less damage modifier to the elements that they prevent, which means the converted damage will be a lot lower. So if you were blocking both cold and lightning, you're only getting half the benefit of those conversions. So it's a pretty significant damage nerf. Moving on to monster balance. They've lowered the damage in early Act 6. This is really great. I always die in Act 6 early on because my resists are totally messed up. Especially on the first character of a league, where my gear is totally potato. So I'm really happy about that. And there's some pretty big stuff in maps as well. Zona missions have been reworked significantly. Now, I don't really know the details until I actually play with this in the game. But apparently she can offer a lot more maps as rewards. Shaped maps and higher tier maps. That's pretty cool. They added some missions that worked previous league mechanics into her missions. Yeah, okay. So that's also interesting. And this is a big one. They shortened the random Shaper time freeze events quite a lot. It's about time. Those are really annoying. Good stuff. Malformation and alleyways get more density. Lair map layout improved, but monster number reduced. Yeah, I think the lair map layout was pretty horrible. But the density didn't really feel that great either, so yeah, I don't know. If they reduce the monster number, it might be worse now. We'll see. Shaper Atlas mechanics. They've added some new Shaper Atlas mechanics. Basically, they've added these Shaper strongholds that they mentioned earlier in the post. I'm not going to go into detail about this because I don't really know too much about them. There's also something else new here. Oh yeah, you can now see maps which have been taken over by Elder or its guardians. Even if that map is not yet revealed on your atlas. That's really important. It's a nice quality of life change. And now, I was really surprised by the Zona League mods. I was not expecting this. So they're adding some new types of mods. Alternate of same tier. Requires a rare map, opens a random rare map of the same tier, excluding the map you placed in the device. So this could be kind of useful, I guess. You get like a pseudo horizon orb if you're trying to get a map that you haven't unlocked yet. But it's kind of random as well. And I don't know if this also randomizes the mods on the rare map, or if it only randomizes the base item. They also added the ability to kind of make shaped maps, even though you haven't shaped them. It basically makes your map 5 tiers higher. But this also randomly rolls your rare map and a chance to corrupt it. So you're gonna want to run a build that can run any map mod, or at least doesn't have too many map mods that it can't run. And at Zona level 8, you can do the same thing with tier 16. Basically, run an Elder map for 15 chaos. Now that sounds kind of expensive, but it's really not. It's kind of cheap actually, because you get a tier 16 map, and this means you can also get tier 16 drops in that map and tier 15 drops, and you're probably gonna make that 15 chaos back fairly easily. But I mean, the prices of maps will adjust based on this being a thing, so we'll see. I think that's about it. There's some PvP balance and some bug fixes that I didn't really bother reading. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this quick rundown. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, I don't care about all the changes. Maybe you care about different changes. Feel free to leave comments about which changes you care about the most if you read the patch notes yourselves. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.